Hey, what's happening, gamers? I'm K-Wing, and today we're looking at Mighty Switch Force, a puzzle action eShop game developed by the fine folks over at Wayforward Technologies, which released on December 22nd, 2011, and continues the developer's taste of retro meets today. Keeping up with the mighty tradition of Wayforward's Mighty series, the third game, Switch Force, has Officer Patricia Wagon, see what they did there, trying to round up some escaped convicts so they can finish, washing her car? Doesn't make sense. How's that a punishment? Hard labor indeed. Must be one of those white-collar joints. Anyway, is it just me or does this opening stage scream Mega Man X? Now the controls are pretty simple. Patricia can jump and blast certain enemies and objects. For everything else, you'll need to switch the blocks on and off using the trigger buttons. The switches can also be used to dispatch the baddies too. Just know this ability is a double-edged sword. So, mastering the switches and learning how they operate is vital to Patty's survival. Each incident warps how the switches, hostiles, and platforming will play out. There are even puzzles that involve launching Patricia and enemies to clear your path. Actually, this game is chock full of unique puzzles like the time blocks in later stages. After puzzles are introduced, the level layout will change how you solve them. Anyway, players will guide Patty through 16 incidents in total, where the goal in each level is to find all the escaped female fatales and exit the area. Similar to most platformers, our heroine uses hearts as hit points. And as long as you don't hit the spikes, well, you're golden. Developers have also placed a set time so speedrunners can create new fastest times if they want to. Me? Well, I was more concerned with completing each stage intact. Still, thank God for checkpoints. I will say this about the game's level design though, it will definitely make you use your brain. As for things I didn't like, well, not much really comes to mind honestly, other than I really don't like that you can't double jump. Look, I understand why they want you to solve the puzzles correctly, but I prefer more options. Plus, the only way I solved the Baxter's Box puzzle in 37 seconds was with a hammer. So having the option to avoid the more annoying puzzles and enemies by jumping would have been awesome. As for the graphics, they kind of remind me of Beautiful Joe meets Tenchi Muyo. Each stage is beaming with personality and beautiful 2D art and animations. The 3D effect, on the other hand, well, it kind of felt like looking through a screen door. Then again, I can't look at 3D because it makes me dizzy, so what do I know? In the sound and music department, well, you be the judge. Sound effects sound like sound effects, and the music was composed by Wayforward's resident composer, Jake Kaufman, whose style this time around reflects excellent techno Daft Punk style tunes. I mean, just listen to how catchy this stuff is. That's so rad. Personally, I really love this game. It's both fun and brutal at the same time, if you can even believe that. It's also one of those games that when you die, and don't worry, you will, it will be your fault and not the game's, which makes beating a difficult mission all the more satisfying when you rise from your many, many failures. In closing, Mighty Switch Force is definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. Trust me, this game will both challenge and delight you. The only major criticism Switch Force received from the media, other than its difficulty, was the fact the game is very short. However, the developers recently fixed this by adding 5 more missions, which brings the tally up to 21 stages. Plus, they're working really hard to make sure this game is ready for its eShop Wii U release later this year. So folks, if you enjoy puzzle games, platforming, and action games, you will absolutely love Mighty Switch Force for the Nintendo 3DS eShop. So do yourself a favor and download it today. You'll be so glad you did. And with that said, thus ends another K-Wing video review. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch, and until we meet again, gamers, God bless and happy gaming.